Hey family, this is Chuck here, 15 Minutes of Bedlam, and I am here tonight with Brother Jeremy Martin.
Yep.
Brother Jeremy Martin is the lead singer of the Columbia, South Carolina rock group Longtooth, with some real legends in the band. Tell us who all's in the band, brother.
All right, we got Steve Borders, who's been doing sound around town since the beginning of time. We got Josh Green, he's our drummer. We got Jason Brazel, he's a lead guitarist, and we got Patterson Grant, who's another lead guitarist, and myself. So.
And how did you guys get connected?
Well, I've known Steve since I was probably 18 years old at Rockefeller's, actually. Known Steve forever. Our friend Patrick Cofield passed away a few years ago, and when Patrick passed away, I actually met Jason Brazel. I'm sorry. Jason Carry-On decided to put together a band called the Rock and Roll Mothers and Fathers. It's MFers is what it's called, actually. And when Patrick passed away, he actually put together a little thing at New Brooklyn Tavern, and I ended up meeting Jason Brazel, and we played together on that set that day, and we basically were best buds since then. And I met Patterson through the Rock and Roll Mothers and Fathers also. I met him through them also. So we are all really good guys. I met Josh through Patterson, actually, so that's basically how the band came together when, unfortunately, a friend of ours passed away, who was a big part of the rock scene here in Columbia. So we miss Patrick a lot.
I remember Patrick.
Yeah, he was an interesting person.
Oh, man, full of personality.
Yeah.
Really likable guy.
That
Really
guy was
likable
wild.
guy. Yeah.
Very talented person, too.
Absolutely. So I noticed a lot of eclectic influences in your set tonight. I heard some classic rock, some guitar rock, also some punk rock, and then you also put sort of some polyrhythmic spins on it, kind of took things like the AC/DC tune and sort of made it your own. Can you talk a little bit about your songwriting process and what goes into putting together a piece to play for the public?
I was actually a bass player before the Rock and Roll Mothers and Fathers came together. I just played bass, and I only played bass, and I was singing. I would always sing with Jason Carry-On, and he was like, "You should be singing, you should be doing this," you know? And basically, you know, I had never sung before that band became a thing, which was only a few years ago. And whenever I met Jason and I met Patterson and Josh, and like I said, I've known Steve for a long time, they were throwing stuff together, and a lot of the influences came from me loving punk and telling them I want this kind of stuff there, and you know, and them putting their influences here, and basically, you know, just mishmashing everything that we all love as a band and put it together as one. And that's basically how it came together as far as us songwriting. Jason and Patterson both write riffs, and Steve, they're all amazing songwriters, all of them. I'm very fortunate to be able to be with those guys, and I just love them a lot. So.
Yeah, they're really solid players. Really solid chops all the way through. The whole set was really tight. And I think that you did a great job as a front man. You were very demonstrative, and also the fact that you made a point of trying to make some positive statements, some encouraging statements to the audience. Where do you think that comes from? Why did you think that was important to do in your set tonight?
I feel like a lot of people are in despair the last few years, especially since COVID and, you know, things that are happening in the last, 8 to 10 years. A lot of people don't have anybody there to say, hey, let's try to be good and try to be decent and try to love each other. And I just feel like, that needs to be said in this world. And anytime that you have a podium in which to spread positivity and be a good person, that's what you should do. And I have young children that I want them to grow up in a better world than that I'm in right now personally. And I don't know if it's my emotions getting tied up in the society that we're living in or what, but if there's anything that I can do to make people feel positive, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, you succeeded tonight. I mean, I felt it in my heart. I really did. And a couple of things you said and the things you sang, I felt my arm hair stand up. And, that's a good thing. That means that you're speaking to the heart. And I could tell that you were singing and that your lyrics were from the heart.
That means a lot to me. Thank you.
I appreciate that so much.
Yes,
so I know you were a punk kid growing up in the Columbia scene. I remember you from Rockefeller's from back in the day. How did your experience as a young teenage punk back in the day shape who you are as a man, as a father, as a performer, as a grown-up?
Well, I was a wild child. I partied a lot. I enjoyed partying, you know, and I was kind of a rudderless ship at a point in my life. And at some point I decided to try to get my life together, and actually got a career. And I didn't really think that I was going to end up married, but I kind of got it together halfway. And then when I met my wife, that completely changed my life. She was everything. She did everything that made me feel like I could be positive and be a good person and try to spin everything in a good way and be a good person. And then children came along, and that was even more that made me want to be a good person. And, you know, when I look back on who I was when I was 18 and who I am now, you know, I'm really appreciative of the journey that I've gone through, because if it wouldn't have happened the way it happened, I wouldn't have met my wife Heather and had our children. So I'm really happy about that. But
Well, that's awesome. The joy comes across on stage, absolutely. And you come across as a very wise man and somebody with something to say, and you do it with a lot of fun and finesse too. So thank you for that. I wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about the new album. It just dropped today on Bandcamp. It's going to be on worldwide platforms within 5 days. Can you talk about the record, the process behind the recording, and a couple of your favorite tracks on the record that kids can look out for?
Well, I will say without a doubt that my favorite track is The Love of Rock and Roll. The song itself is a autobiographical thing, because I spent 10 years away from music. I was a bass player in a lot of punk bands coming up, and I spent 10 years away from music because I got married and I had kids, and I thought that was what I needed to do with my life. But then once I had the kids and we started to have a little bit extra time, I figured out that I could, you know, make music again, and I wanted to make music. And I asked my wife, can I go and do this after the Rock and Roll Mothers and Fathers got together? And she said, go for it. So I would say that that's definitely my favorite track. As far as recording the album, we recorded it at Farmhouse Studios here in Columbia. A friend of mine, Dan's studio. He's a really good guy. Him and his girlfriend Caroline invited us in their home, let us record the album there. The tracks themselves all just came from our hearts. The writing, a lot of the lyrics came from stuff that was from years ago, and some of it's from right now, you know, current events that are going on. And like I said, the Love of Rock and Roll is basically my favorite track on the whole album, like by far. It makes my arm hair stand up whenever I sing it. So.
It came off without a hitch tonight. It was really powerful. It's anthemic, it builds up, it's melodic, and the rhythm is just so catchy. So you guys nailed it, absolutely. So if people want to come see you live, where can they see you next?
Well, we're actually writing our second album.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we're in the process of writing our second album. We have 2 tracks done right now. One of the tracks we actually played tonight was called Molly. So we're working on the second album. We do not have a show right now lined up, but anytime that we're ready to play, we're going to play. So I would think probably in May. So look out for Longtooth. We're going to be playing really soon, here soon.
Well, that sounds great. 15 Minutes of Bedlam podcast. Viewers, you heard it first from Jeremy Martin of Longtooth. You guys did a phenomenal job tonight, and I'm honored that we got to share the stage with you, brother. Because you and I have been talking about doing this for a while. So I'm glad it happened. Peace and love to you, man. Best wishes for you and your family and for the band, and we'll see you out on the road in May.
It's an honor, Chuck. Thanks,
Thank you,
man.
brother.